Are you feeling weird right now? I missed you. Got some tears there. Wow. You know, you're doing the right thing with your life when you can't do it, you miss it. So it just feels very good to know that about this beautiful community that we're all part of. I had so many wonderful experiences and a lot of work during this sabbatical. It was meant to be a working sabbatical, and I'll tell you about things that are going on, as we keep moving forward, but probably one of the things that will become a big result will be the new website. So we finally did find a developer, and we're starting to lay out the pages, and it's kind of like writing a book. So that is taking some time, but it's exciting to just be rethinking. A lot of this wasn't written or hadn't been touched for 10 to 15 years. So it's time to look at it again and to think about who we are and what we've become and where we're going. So I'm excited to see where that is headed. And we've also been asked to be the hub of the Fall Regional Conference for 10 states of unity. And there will be a couple other satellite locations, but those who are closest to unity in Naperville will be coming here for the conference. The keynotes will be speaking from here, and the business meeting will start from here, and I'll tell you more about that today. But we've been doing a lot of planning, and some of you have been on that team, so thank you for that, and that's in the works. At this facility. So definitely things to do while I was in process, but I also, I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like I had an opportunity to rethink or be just approaching life in general and approaching my work here in ministry in general. To where, if you've known me for any length of time, you know that I tend to approach life from type A personality, 1 on the Enneagram, trying to make sure that it's all done right and that everyone approves. And I'm kind of backing away from that and wanting to give more space for spirit to flow. And that means I may not put a ton of things on the calendar as much as I might just want to be present in the moment to see what Spirit wants to do. Are you up for that? Okay. Well, thank you for that permission. We'll see how it goes. If I fail by Christmas, we'll go back to the old way. So hold the high watch for me, because, at this point in my life, it's like, okay, well, I've done that. It hasn't felt good all of the time. And there's still a lot of years in me yet that wants to grow myself. I'm here to help you grow, but I'm also here to grow myself. And so I know that Spirit is asking me to do this, to be more open and allowing and trusting. Whew, that got a big hit. All right, I heard that. I heard that. Trusting that what I need to know is already within me. And now it's about letting love release the flow of it. So I know what I need to know. Now it's about letting it flow, and that's through the energy of love. So if you get a glimpse of me going back to my old ways of just over-managing or overthinking, just remind me it's about letting love flow and do its perfect work, because it will in every moment that we allow it. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. But as you came in the door today, you had a little green form that we were asking you to fill out. Thank you for doing that. And after being gone for 6 weeks, I really was curious to see, for those of you who came back to this room, why you did that. I'm going to ask my runners to come up here and pick up their microphones, and let's spread out across the room, because I know you answered this question for me on the form, but I want you to say it out loud. So who here wants to tell me why you decided to come here this morning? Raise your hand and a microphone will show up in front of you. Back there, Rick. Why did you want to come here?
A long week of things, trying to manage them and make them work and do all of that. I come here to refresh myself and restore my soul.
Refresh and restore. Thank you. Who else? Why did you come here? Oop. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been coming during your sabbatical, and we've had some wonderful guests, and Mary Beth and Michael did a great job, and all of our musicians. And I was just curious to see what Kitty was going to be like.
And I will not receive the pressure of that at all. I let go and let love flow.
We come for spiritual community and for the wonderful music, and also for the positive thinking to always uplift us and get us out of any negative patterns that we still have.
Wonderful. Thank you. Over here.
To grow and to learn.
To grow and to learn. Thank you.
Isolate and hibernate and stay in my house for 4 years. So I did, in depression. So I just stopped working. So I am now free. I'm a rock artist. I paint rocks as a hobby. And to connect with all of you. And the spirit divine with all of us, and also Reverend Kitty's, all the uplifting messages, and the highest good band.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm recovering from a concussion, and this is like a first big step out for me, but nothing has you more introspective than a concussion, because there's not much more you can do than to literally be in your head. And I have done a lot of the online ones.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I have watched a lot of the online services during my recovery, and I'm here today as one of my first steps. And if I leave early, I apologize to everyone. It's nothing personal.
That's okay. Thanks for making that step. Who else?
I came, I knew you were here in spirit, but the human needed to see the physical and experience your beautiful energy and all the love and energy from all my beautiful sisters and brothers here today.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hi, Mary Beth.
Hi. I left my husband at home with our 2 grandkids. He got the short straw. But I really wanted to be here to welcome you back, because I know what it feels like to come back from an experience of being, interior, and I know you've got a lot for us. But I also am here because I know that the collective consciousness is so important, and I know it takes about 15% of us on this planet to counterbalance the 85%. And I believe we're the 15% club, and I like being part of it.
That's a new name for us, the 15% Club. Love that.
Hi.
Hi.
I've never been here. I'm here for
Welcome.
this one.
Welcome.
One of my most treasured people. I'm actually here. It's like everything aligned to bring me to this moment right now to witness you. But yesterday I got to watch my parents. It's funny that today is about love and how important and how big and how expansive it is. My parents made a royal mess together in a marriage that lasted 25 years, and they were estranged for 29. And yesterday they got remarried, and I got to watch them. Actually, I didn't. I got to listen. I was like, I couldn't actually be in the same room with them, so I was like very secret, and I just listened. But love wins. It wins every time, yes. and it's the most powerful thing that exists. And we are learning that together as friends right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Why you came here today? Donuts. Okay, Danny.
Simple. Refresh, renew, and repeat.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, in the back. Hi, Steve.
Oh, welcome back, Kitty. It's
Thank you.
good to feel you here again. I always say the light finds the light, and I'm just drawn here every Sunday to when everyone gets together in this community and how bright this light is. And like an insect, I'm here. I find the light. So thank you.
What a beautiful insect. Maybe a dragonfly or a lightning bug. You bring your own light. Yeah, we're all lightning bugs, right? Right. Well, thank you for answering that question. I'm kind of, I don't want to say surprised. Oh, sorry. I probably just walked out of your picture, right, Susan? Here, let me come back. Creature of habit. So oftentimes, very common for people to come to their spiritual community more often than not to see their friends. So whether the message is good or bad or the music is good or bad, as long as they see their friends, they're happy to be here. And, I was thinking about our values that, interestingly enough, the first letter of our 4 values put together spell the beginning of the word whole, W-H-O-L. And one of the values is wholeness, and the H stands for humor, O stands for open-mindedness, L stands for love. Who wouldn't want to be part of that community? Wholeness, humor, open-mindedness, and love. So I'm just grateful to feel you again because it's different, and I love all of you watching online. And the energy in this room is about 1,000 times different than what you're experiencing through the camera. So we're just going to send it out to you, right? If you just want to open your hearts right now and send some of that loving flow to all those watching this morning and in the weeks ahead. We're grateful that you're touching base with us. And I'm going to just see what happens when I reach into this basket of your forms that you filled out and see. They didn't answer the question, so I'll keep going. Okay, here's a good one. So when it comes to applying spiritual principles to life's problems, yours or the world's, which problem has you stuck? And this person said, knee-jerk reactions dealing with conflict. Anybody else relate to that? Knee-jerk reactions dealing with conflict. So if you've been part of Unity, you will know that our third spiritual principle is that we create our life experience through our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs. And those beliefs get stored in the subconscious, and then they are the catalyst for the knee-jerk reaction. So Liz, I'm going to ask you to stand up and see who wants to answer this question. Can somebody describe what a knee-jerk reaction is? Okay, raise your hand. Diane, oh, there we go. Sorry.
An immediate response.
An immediate response without thinking. Okay, that's good. That's pretty good. An immediate response without thinking. Without thinking. Without thinking. And the without thinking is the part that you've already thought it so many times that it has now become solid as a belief in the subconscious, and it will do the thinking for you. 95% of your day, that's what's happening. So we have knee-jerk reactions pretty regularly, don't we? When we say knee-jerk, it's kind of a, I don't want to say violent feeling, but it's a sudden feeling. It's got its own energy to it, but sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes our reaction without really thinking comes quietly, but repetitively and without thinking. And so part of this is what we've done and learned over time, and we've heard this many times, and the way that the divine law works though it's meant for our good, is that the energy in us will respond to the thought and the belief in us to the point where now we start behaving according to whatever it is that we stored. So, part of this is about noticing the reaction before we open the mouth. Notice the reaction before it's too late. And we either stick our foot in our mouth, or we hurt someone else's feelings, or we have found ourselves so wrapped up in what we just reacted against that it is creating a sense of energy in us that does not feel good. And so without even thinking, suddenly we're angry. Without even feeling, suddenly we're worried. You know, that knot in your stomach because you remembered it's still 3 weeks till payday and you've got a financial obligation and not enough money in the bank to pay it, creates that knee-jerk knot in the stomach kind of thing. So part of that is recognizing when it happens in us, but also part of it is being part of the mass mind. Who saw me or saw my video on Facebook this past summer where I was talking about a quote from Joseph Murphy about the mass consciousness? Anybody see that? 600 people have seen it and none of you have seen it. Okay, well that's good actually, because now you'll hear it for the first time. If you're watching online, maybe this will be your second. One of the things that Joseph Murphy says is, so here's what's cool about this. I didn't plan that question, and I had some ideas come to me this week and wrote them down, and that's how Spirit puts it together. So when you let go and let love flow, then you know what you need to know when you need to know it. So here's what I was prepared to do for this question today. All of us, says Joseph Murphy, and this is number 1 quote up on the screen. See, I even had screens made. That's pretty cool. All of us are immersed in the mass mind, which is the habitual thinking of all the billions of people on this planet. The influence of the mass mind is extremely limiting, causing those influenced by it to be full of fear, ignorance, and superstition. If you do not do your own thinking, the mass mind will do it for you. If you do not do your own thinking, the mass mind will do it for you. So first of all, let's just think about the mass mind. In Charles Fillmore's day, he's one of our co-founders of Unity, he would call it race mind or race consciousness, referring to the human race. And that mass mind is like majority rules. So whatever it is that the majority of us are thinking about, along with the feelings, kind of permeates into everyone's consciousness at some level, and we have knee-jerk reactions that we didn't even know were in us because we picked it up from the ether, so to speak. So it's important that we start becoming aware of that, doing our own thinking, or otherwise we just go with that flow, usually upstream, against the stream. So he goes on to say that subjectively, or we would say in Unity subconsciously, we are all one, and we are telepathically communicating at all times. How does that feel? Have you noticed that? Have you ever noticed that? Where you feel like you're picking things up, not from your own mind? But he says, when you keep prayed up, you neutralize most of this negative influence, as there is no room in your mind then for these morbid, depressive thoughts. Let the God presence in you arise and influence you along all lines. This divine presence tells you that you are here to express yourself at the highest level. It's the influence of Spirit within that's always saying, rise, transcend, grow, move onward and upward. That's the voice of the divine in you. Let that be your major influence. So I'm thinking how often I run into people who look at what's going on around the world and they're having major knee-jerk reactions to it. It could have something to do with politics. It could have something to do with war, COVID, the economy. And that mass consciousness is probably resisting it. And at the same time, we may find ourselves resisting the people who we decide created it or are contributing to it. And that is not going to help, because that resistance to government, politicians, the resistance to those who started the war or keeping the war going, the resistance to those who didn't wear a mask during the height of COVID is not going to help us at all. How do we get past that knee-jerk reaction where the first thing we want to do is blame, to be angry with, and to feel completely helpless about fixing these major problems in the world? How do we do that? We have to stop judging. We have to let go of that judgment. Christina, would you go to quote number 2? This is from Joseph Murphy, and he said that every person has a goal, and he must leave his present limited state of mind and move forward in faith and confidence to his new goal in life. If you want to go to San Francisco from Los Angeles, you have to leave Los Angeles. Likewise, if you want a healing of mind and body, of our population, of our belief systems, you must leave your old grudges, peeves, and resentments in order to get a healing or an answer to prayer. So as much as we would like them to change, or as much as we would like to get together in our small group and talk about how bad everything is going, none of that is going to fix this problem for you. We do not have the power to fix the problem in other people. We do not have the ability to change who they are. We only have our power to change the grudge that we're holding against the person, against the situation. So we have to leave Los Angeles and go to San Francisco by, as he put it, letting go of your old grudges, peeves, and resentments. So it's very common for us to have those beliefs within us that say, that group is wrong and my group is right. That's very common. Or that group is considering themselves to be entitled when I know that they're not. That group is taking power over my well-being. The question is, are they really? Whenever our focus is on the outside of ourselves, then it's going to take a while for us to turn within and change that belief in ourselves. It's going to take a focus. You've heard me tell the story in the Bible about the lame man who'd been laying by the healing pool for 38 years. And the deal was that when the water was stirred up at the healing pool, it was angels stirring up the pool. The first one in the pool would be healed. And this one guy had such a malady that he couldn't get himself into the pool because he was lame. And so by 38 years of this, he basically decided, this is my lot in life. And then suddenly Jesus showed up and said, do you really want to be healed? And that idea came to him. What if I were healed? What if I actually could walk? So think of that, him, as a metaphysical interpretation of an entrenched thought in your consciousness. What is it? That knee-jerk reaction that you have, what is the entrenched thought in your consciousness that's like the lame man laying there for 38 years going nowhere? Can you think of it? Can you identify it? Because that's the thing that's causing the knee-jerk reaction. That's the thing that is so built in our consciousness that it takes over our body, and we start opening our mouth and talking before we really think things through. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Yeah. So this is about leaving that town. You know, Jesus said that he's sending his disciples out on mission and saying that if you go into a town and they don't accept you or they insult you or they throw stones at you, you leave that town and you shake the dust off your feet. And I would say head north in consciousness. So when you find yourself trapped and knee jerking and saying the same hurtful thoughts over and over again, it's time to leave that town and shake the dust off your feet and head north in consciousness to where the Christ mind dwells in you and will speak to you. And that is what will release you from that constant repetition, is becoming aware of the knee-jerk and realizing this is a thought that I have to let go of. Now, I have to laugh because I was doing a meditation recently that was led by someone, and you know how it is. It's like, so close your eyes, check. Take a deep breath. Check. Relax your muscles. Check. Let go of all that does not serve you. Check. Wait a minute. Is it really that easy to let go of all that does not serve you? If that thought's been entrenched for 38 years, it's probably going to take some attention. So we notice what it is that's got us crippled. We notice what it is that has words coming out of our mouth that we regret later, or that create emotions in us that don't feel good and still haven't solved our problem. Be aware of that. And then we start changing our mind. And the ways that we teach to do that in unity is to speak new words on purpose. We call them affirmations, affirming the truth about God in this situation, affirming the truth of God. Now, at this early stage of the game, when you're first noticing it, you may not be all that familiar with these qualities of God that are available to you. But I'm going to give you the top 4, and if you can remember these 4, then one of them is probably going to apply to this. What is the quality of God that will address this situation that needs to be transformed? It's probably either going to be life, love, substance, or intelligence. Those are all expressions of God. Life, love, substance, intelligence. Say that with me. Life, love, substance, or intelligence. So not only can we speak truth about divine life is pouring through my body, renewing every cell, we could speak the quality of love to come through us, that divine love is causing all things to work together for good in my life. And we could think on the quality of divine substance as that sparkly, invisible energy that fills heaven and earth, as infinite in nature, and is the very foundation of everything that we want to create or experience in our life. Divine substance flows freely through my life and creates the desires of my heart. Those are affirmations. What was the last one? Intelligence. Yes. So that's the mind of God. That's the Christ consciousness in us. And that affirmation is something like, divine wisdom comes to the forefront in me now. I know what I need to know. Now, you say that one time, it's probably not going to do a whole lot to that lame man laying by your pool. If we want to get him up to rise and walk, we're going to have to remind him many, 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 many times of what the truth is. Marie Manucheri has a different point of view about how to do this. This is slide number, see how all this is working together? I love this. That must be number 5, okay? So Marie Manucheri is a intuitive, which means she's able to discern wisdom from her higher self. She's able to receive guidance from spiritual guides on the other side. She has learned how to live life in a lighter way. That's all that is required for any one of us to tap into that divine wisdom. She's just honed it, and she shares what she's getting, and you can believe it or not. I don't really care, but She's also has a nursing background, so she does a lot of healing, intuitive work. But one of the things she says about changing the consciousness is to remember, up here on the screen, she says, if you say what's positive and curious as a what if question, the ego will let it move into the brain, recalibrate the subatomic particles, which will move through the blood-brain barrier, go into the rest of your body, and calibrate the rest of your particles to the solution, keeping the energy elevated. You've heard that, haven't you, Claire? Yeah. She's a Marie Manucherry fan. So you're probably going, what? So let's read it and talk about it again. She says, if you say what's positive and curious as a what if question, the ego will let it move into the brain. So let me back up. If you just say a statement one time that the life of God is healing me, then it's very possible that your ego and your subconscious have already created such a belief in you that it won't believe that and it won't let it through into the subconscious so that you will have difficulty expressing it. Are you following? Okay, so she's talking about what we need to do in order to talk the subconscious into believing this is we have to recalibrate the thought and turn it into a question. So it's less threatening, and the ego can't argue with it because it's just a question. But in asking, or let me finish reading it, she says, recalibrate the subatomic particles, which will move through the blood-brain barrier, go into the rest of the body, and recalibrate the rest of the particles to the solution, keeping the energy elevated. It's curious. It wants to find the solution. So what we're doing with that what-if question, like, what if divine life really is flowing through my body? What if infinite substance really does provide all my needs? What if divine wisdom has the answer in my heart right now? So now the ego can't argue with this because you haven't really stated it as this is the way it is. It won't come up with a bunch of contradictions. It'll just go, huh. And in that question, you and your whole system is going to work trying to solve it. And what's happening here is you're pulling on your power of imagination and your power of faith to start creating the picture, the finished picture in your mind's eye. And guess what happens when you do that? When you've created the finished picture in your mind's eye, everything in you wants to put some action behind it. And so suddenly you're thinking more thoughts that would say, okay, this is what it looks like. I'm more energetic. What if divine life was flowing through my body? I would be more energetic. I would be able to walk to the mailbox. Or I would feel like I want to stay up out of my bed for longer periods of time, or I'd be able to actually make dinner tonight, or I'd be able to go to the store. And now these pictures are coming in, and not only are they coming in, but they're coming in with feeling. You're starting to feel the energy of what it would be like to do something that you haven't been able to do. What if? Wouldn't that be cool? See how simple that is? You picture it until you feel it, and suddenly you are changing your entire energetic framework. And guess what happens when you do that? Let it be done to you as you believe. Now you are radiating at the frequency of life. What if you're struggling with a family conflict that's just been going on and on and on, and your what if question is, what if I felt loved and heard and respected? What if I was open and accepting and allowing? You know, you've got that wall that you've built up that's been sitting there for so long that this that keeps going on is the man laying by the pool for 38 years going nowhere. But what if it was a completely different scenario and that I felt loved and I felt heard? And if you haven't been loved or heard for a while and you ask that what if question, you start radiating that frequency. When you start radiating a frequency of love and life and intelligence. You are now aligned with your spiritual self, your higher self. You are making way for your higher self to do its work. You are opening the door for that wisdom to come into your conscious awareness, because otherwise that subconscious, that heavy, slow energy just pulls down that shade and says, no, you're not passing through. I'm not going to let that Christ consciousness through. I trust what's in me, and the subconscious level, that's what protects me. But suddenly, when you start feeding it pictures of possibility and potential and hope, you start to feel your energy rise. Now you're in the neighborhood where Jesus shows up and says, do you want to be made well? Yes, I would love that. Wouldn't it be cool? What if I were well? What if I got along with my family? What if I had enough funds to pay my bills this month? What's the other one? What if I didn't use a knee-jerk reaction to solve this situation? Perfect. What if that divine wisdom just came pouring through and showed me what to do next? We do not have to be subject to the subconscious if we can get ahead of it and be conscious and aware of what's going on in every moment, what we're feeling. And my hunch is for a while, you're not going to get ahead of it, but after the fact, this is another thing that I learned this summer, was that we have the power to transform what happened in the past, so that the trajectory of our timeline doesn't have to be going downhill into swampland. It can actually be converted into a higher state of consciousness and take us into those realms where wisdom and life and love and intelligence and substance are waiting for us. And we do that by simply visualizing, use that power of imagination again, and seeing it happening differently than it did. So instead of the knee-jerk reaction, what if, gosh, use two solutions at once. What if, picturing power, what if I didn't react badly? What if I had taken a breath and relaxed and opened up and really listened to my higher self, and it would have told me, we're all doing the best that we can. And the only thing that I can introduce in this moment that will make a change in me is divine love. So I'm just going to hold my attention and imagine that instead of having some smart remark back to them, instead I said, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like that means a lot to you. It sounds like that matters to you. And I'm glad that you shared. I'm just going to hold that this is going to work out for the highest and best for everyone involved. That's love. That's love. Now, you didn't do it. It's too late now that, it seems too late now because you said, you are so full of it, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. So how many times have we said that? Or at least in our mind's eye. But we can actually change the trajectory of where we're going and where they're going by holding this vision in our heart of what could have been and what we want to be from a state of love, qualities of God. Not them changing and becoming like you, not them doing everything your way, but simply just sending love and feeling that sense of allowing and accepting not only them but yourselves, feel that love for yourself. And then what you're doing is you're giving yourself and them permission, because remember, we're all one, there's only one of us here. You're giving everyone permission to change where they're headed. Remember that what we're engaging with our energy reproduces in kind. So instead of leaving it alone and huffing and puffing and laying awake nights and tossing and turning about this, now we're in the state of allowing and relaxing for yourself and for them. And suddenly your attraction field is about attracting more allowing and more accepting and more uplifting and more love. And because you're connected to them and you've had this connection with them, you have now helped them move in that direction in themselves as well, without even having to say anything more to them. You just hold it in your consciousness until every time you think of that interaction with them, you're at peace about it. Doesn't that sound like fun? Okay. Look, you guys, I still have an entire basket full of things to talk about. So guess what we're going to be doing for the rest of the month? We're going to be talking about your topics. But I don't want to keep you here forever. So thank you for whoever wrote that question. Thank you for being open to possibilities. And remind yourself daily, you have the power to be awake in the moment. You have the power to choose what you want to think. You have the power to visualize where you want to be going and who you want to be. And that as we hold these in our mind, it becomes a settled feeling in our subconsciousness, and we begin to live it out here in our life. Is that okay with you? Okay, so let's take some time in meditation and see where this goes from here. So if you haven't been a meditator, there's all kinds of ways to do this, but today it'll be guided. It'll just be me offering some ideas. And as you relax your body, that helps to let the tension ease out of you so you can be more present. So let's just start by feeling the chair that is fully supporting you right now and leaning back against it so that all of your muscles can relax. And feel your feet solidly on the floor. Aware of an entire planet that is supporting you right now. How grounded we feel. And as our body relaxes, we begin to breathe consciously through our heart space. Our thoughts are now deep in our heart. And we imagine a doorway opening that shines a beautiful light. Not only does its light lift us into a place of goodness and relief, this light is also calming us. Almost like a liquid light of love. As we walk into this space, it covers us like a blanket. And as it starts at the top of our head and flows down around us, we relax even more, knowing that this presence of love is loving every cell in our body. And life is free to thrive in you. Imagine there's this comfy seat in this sacred space of light that you relax in. You feel its support. You soak up this light. And as it begins to permeate your entire being, you recognize that it comes with a consciousness of its own. It is the one mind of God, the realm of infinite knowing, It is a presence filled with answers. It is what is the knowing that is already within you. We feel its love for us. Fully aware of us in every moment, and always ready to guide and direct. So we take a moment now to think back at that question that you wrote down. And from a place of love and allowing, I invite you to ask that higher consciousness in you your question. And just be still and know. Whatever is uppermost in your mind right now that you would like guidance on, bring that question into this room, into your heart, and allow this divine light of loving intelligence offer you its perfect support. Know that this presence of knowing is always in your heart, always waiting to point the way. Ask and it is given. From this place of love and allowing, we give thanks that all that we need to know is here. We let go and let love flow. And from this place, all things do work together for our highest good. This is the truth of who you are and how you are meant to flow. And so now we allow it. And so it is. Amen.